Fortunate is the word, indeed. For anyone who's had the privilege of witnessing the NFL draft unfold over 2 decades, a spectacle that has transcended football to become a reflection of culture, media, and even morality. Across 22 drafts and counting on NFL Network, I've seen it all. Litigation from players attempting to strong-arm their way into the league, jaw-dropping trades that reshaped franchises, smoke-filled rumors igniting like brush fires across social media, and draft nights that turn into full-blown soap operas. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared anyone for what we've just seen unfold with the drafting of Shedeur Sanders. In a landscape where football talent has historically overridden all red flags, character questions, or off-field distractions, this draft saga will be remembered as one of the most surreal, debated, and defining moments of the modern NFL era. The most chaotic moment I had ever witnessed in the first round was the infamous Laramie Tunsil episode, a draft night social media ambush that involved a leaked video of him using a gas mask bomb, followed by hacked messages implicating Ole Miss in recruiting violations. It was scandalous, shocking, and disruptive, but as outrageous as that was, even it pales in comparison to the odyssey of Shedeur Sanders, a player projected by many respected analysts as a top 5 pick, yet somehow slipping all the way into the 5th round. 143 picks after Cam Ward, a player who'd been the focal point of college football conversations for months, whose every throw was dissected, whose potential as a franchise cornerstone was argued with conviction. The same Shedeur Sanders, son of the iconic Deion Primetime Sanders, went from first-round hype to a day 3 afterthought. How does this happen? How does a quarterback with pedigree, production, poise, and a massive media presence fall through the cracks? The answer is not as simple as one might think. Throughout the draft process, whispers emerged that he had underwhelmed in interviews, that he came across as unprepared or even disinterested in team meetings. In any profession, especially one as scrutinized and competitive as the NFL, that matters. Teams are investing not just in talent, but in temperament, leadership, and fit. The NFL draft is, above all, a job interview at the highest stakes. And if a candidate appears disengaged, regardless of their raw ability, it's a red flag. Still, this league has often shown a willingness, some would say eagerness, to overlook even egregious transgressions if a player can help win games. And Shedeur's so-called red flags? They weren't legal troubles. They weren't violent acts. They weren't scandals. They were perceptions of professionalism, correctable, fixable issues. Yet time and time again, teams passed. Day 1, no call. Day 2, silence. Day 3, disbelief. The talent over everything mantra that has been the backbone of countless past drafts seemed to evaporate when it came to Shedeur. Teams have taken chances on quarterbacks with rap sheets longer than scouting reports. But now, suddenly, a reality show, a famous father, and a few allegedly off-key meetings were enough to send a potential franchise QB into freefall. Critics pointed to Deion Sanders, likening him to LeVar Ball, suggesting he'd helicopter over his son's NFL future, bring distractions, cameras, chaos. But this isn't college football. This is the NFL, where head coaches like Bill Belichick and Mike Tomlin have made entire franchises orbit their command and culture. You think Belichick would tolerate any circus around his QB room? Of course not. You think Deion wouldn't respect boundaries if told directly? Watch him run his program. It's built on discipline and accountability. The notion that a team couldn't handle the primetime effect says more about that team's insecurity than about Shedeur's readiness. And yet, after being bypassed by team after team, the moment finally came. The franchise that eventually selected him had already drafted a quarterback earlier in the draft and had passed on Shedeur multiple times themselves. They even traded up at the tail end of the 5th round, their final pick of the draft, to make the selection, reportedly just ahead of the Eagles, who were poised to take him. That's how desperate the saga became. That's how Shedeur Sanders became the most talked-about Day 3 pick in recent memory. When the coach and GM were shown celebrating on camera after the pick, it was more than routine joy. It was like they had just stolen a national treasure. And maybe, just maybe, they did. This is a quarterback whose father said he was going to retire his number, who built a program around him, who challenged the establishment and won. Shedeur didn't pout. He didn't lash out when pranked by a rogue call that got leaked from a team-issued tablet. a gross breach of protocol. He stood tall. He will now enter an NFL locker room not as a savior, but as an underdog, as a fifth-round pick with something to prove and a chip that will fuel his fire. And make no mistake, this is the crucible in which greatness is forged. Cam Ward, Tyler Shaw, Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel, all drafted ahead of him, and the tape will be the ultimate equalizer. This isn't just about proving analysts wrong. It's about redefining the narrative. Daniel Jeremiah, one of the most respected minds in the business, had Shedeur ranked 20th on his final board. That's not just an endorsement. It's an indictment of the system that allowed this fall to happen. He went 100 for 100 on his top prospects, and Shedeur was in that elite group. Think of Maurice Claret. He sued the NFL to get in early and was still taken in the third round. Shedeur played by the rules, starred in college, and had to wait longer. Think of Baker Mayfield or Johnny Manziel, players with far more checkered pasts, but who still heard their names called on day one. The NFL has shown time and again that if you can help win, you get the opportunity. So what happened here? Some argue that he wasn't graded as a first-rounder by many teams, that his fit as a starter wasn't assured. And maybe that's true, but then explain the fifth round. Explain how a quarterback with his resume, his accuracy, his leadership, and his toughness, playing behind one of the worst offensive lines in college football, becomes an afterthought. At pick 144, this became something else. A test of the league's priorities. A test of perception. A test of how much baggage is too much when the baggage is just a name, a camera, and a coach who happens to be your father. Shedeur Sanders now becomes the most compelling story of this rookie class. His journey from projected top 5 to 5th round is already legendary. And if he succeeds, if he climbs the depth chart, earns a starting role, and delivers, he won't just rewrite his narrative. He'll change the way the league evaluates leadership, legacy, and the intersection of talent and perception. We've never seen anything like it, and we may never again.